Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
Empower your community to be responsible dog owners and do not punish those who already are.
And these 3 pit bulls slept on my bed every single night when I was going through breast cancer. I don't know how I would have gotten through it without them.
That are against, as I am, the proposed ordinance.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
What I'm prepared to do now, shockingly, if it's appropriate, is to ask for a second to vote this proposed ordinance down completely tonight. I'm convinced this is not the right way to approach this issue.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
3 years ago, I believed everything that Steve Madison is actually saying. But the difference is that I took the time to actually educate myself and acquaint myself with these dogs.
They have made such an impact. When I came back from Iraq, I was like, I couldn't even stare at you, talk to you. But these dogs, like, they completely changed me.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
I would simply make a motion that we vote this proposed ordinance down.
I'm not familiar with the procedure that John is describing where we vote something down.
However, I'm of the feeling that the council, the majority of the council, is not prepared to support this ordinance.
I just want my colleagues to know that last week, I asked in a written form for this item to be deferred. I just want the audience to know that I am just so grateful for all the comments. I mean, if you see the size of the staff report just for this one topic, I've never seen anything so thick.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
I don't believe in banning pit bulls or the mixed breeds. No, what I agree with is that we shouldn't go against that state law. Is this law fair, that what we're trying to do here, having a pit bull ordinance? I don't believe it is.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
To have a breed-neutral law rather than a specific law. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Just in brief, I was not prepared to support tonight's agenda item as written or as proposed, similar to my opposition to the earlier action of the City Council that even brought this resolution forth for consideration tonight for the same reasons, namely the difficulty that the Pasadena Humane Society expressed to us in them being able to identify pit bulls and not pit bulls, but the pit bull mixed breeds and the enforcement mechanisms by which, if passed, the resolution would require.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
The council has certainly not introduced an ordinance which had the effect of tabling or withdrawing the ordinance from consideration by the council.
Obviously, as an attorney, he has to understand that, you know, he's offering expert testimony in the form of this dogsbite.org. But what he's not offering, and he knows that he's well aware that you have to establish the qualifications of your expert.
You said no one would step into an ER who owns a pit bull. My mom's been an ER nurse for 34 years. She owns a pit bull.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
Hearing my colleagues speak, it seems to me that there are enough members of the council who would vote this motion, not the motion, but the ordinance down tonight. I would not support the motion that is currently on the floor. I'm more interested, if it comes to it, that the council would take an action on the ordinance that's before us tonight, given the fact that a majority of the council has already spoken and said they are not in support of this ordinance.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
Before we vote on the motion to table, let's hear what they have to say and then decide whether we want to table it or vote it up or down tonight.
We're not acting. We're not acting then.
We'd be acting on this. Look, there have been a whole series of proposals here aimed at solving a problem that I don't think we can solve. And so, at least not through this approach. You brought the idea of taking the single breed legislation. That has stirred a tremendous amount of community interest. We've all been bombarded, mostly you, with information and earnest points of view. I think we should close that loop, and I think we should do it tonight.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
They are some of the most soulful animals I have ever met, despite the fact that a lot of them come from broken pasts. It's like they were put on this earth to teach us forgiveness.
Small dogs are more likely to be adopted out than pit bulls, that's true, but it's not necessarily because they have better temperaments. It's because insurance companies and landlords discriminate against large dogs like pit bulls. So many people are being told what type of dog they're allowed to own rather than being allowed to own the type of dog that they want.
If pits have a hard time getting adopted, which they do, it is because of archaic thinking and fear that Councilman Madison spreads. And listening to him, I would think of McCarthyism. He said he wants to be educated and hear what we say, yet he hardly looks at any of the speakers.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
I, for one, would invite my colleagues to vote no on the motion as I am, and that we deal with the ordinance itself tonight.
Like people, dogs should be judged as individuals. Rather than pass laws that target innocent dogs or their owners, we need breed-neutral dog laws that hold negligent or reckless owners accountable for their animals and for situations that are actually dangerous.
From the advantage point of my colleagues who have already spoken, there seems no appetite for the breed-specific legislation.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
The dog owner is in large measure responsible for the conduct of the dog. This breed-specific proposed ordinance is not a solution.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
I've been to college and I learned that you have to have backup. You cannot just say that you've researched something and go off of one specific website.
I also have a pit bull, as per my vet. As per the shelter that I got my pit bull from, she's a pug mix. As per my vet, she's a pit mix. She's a little pit mix, so I don't know how you can discriminate what breed is what if a vet in a shelter and another vet can't come to a consensus if my dog's a pug or a pit mix.
Let's not discriminate. This is America. Let's not discriminate against specific breeds like Jews or pit bulls, okay?
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
The necessity for this ordinance has not been established in my mind. I think the facts, I think we can say, are in dispute, if nothing else. I am persuaded, frankly, by the list of organizations objecting to breed-specific legislation. The most important thing to me is that there's been that the benefit of this proposal hasn't been established.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
There is no evidence that this kind of breed-specific legislation will reduce the number of dog bites. There is no evidence that enforceability can really be achieved. And I think the reason that we've had this big outpouring of opposition is because when you start to deal with people's pets, you're really sort of reaching into their families. And I think that before government makes a move like that and runs the risk of overreaching, that we be very clear. We need to be very clear on the benefits. We need to be very clear on the science. And we need to be very clear on the enforceability.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
Demonizing groups of any living thing or non-living object does not stop crime, nor does it provide safety. Also, I think we can agree that it doesn't stop or prevent individual action or intent.
I'm a retired police officer. I'm a pretty hardened individual. I've been shot at numerous times. I'm a Medal of Valor winner. I've killed a robbery suspect. But the one thing I want to say, Mr. Madison, is thank you for bringing all these people together.
My organization fights misinformation, and pretty much everything coming out of your mouth is misinformation.
So I'm persuaded that we do need to take action. And I think that the action that we should take should be investing city resources in educating the public and in investing in some method of making low-cost or no-cost neutering available to people who can't afford it. And the notion of criminalizing low-income families, I think, is a huge mistake.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
I was having this spaying neuter conversation multiple times a day. So if you're going to enforce an issue that people don't even know about, that's a big problem. So I think education needs to be brought to the people and needs to be brought in a big way.
We have received counterfeit money. The gallery has several times been vandalized. We have been sexually harassed, had disturbing and sometimes frightening encounters with schizophrenics and transients, have broken up physical altercations outside of the gallery, and called 911 for passersby with medical and psychiatric issues. However, we have never once been assaulted or feared for our safety in any way because of a pit bull.
Gorgeous, smart, sexy, loving, kind, generous, kissable. Sounds like the best date I've ever had, but that is the best companion dog I have ever had in my life. And I would encourage each and every one of you, especially the council member Madison, I would love to invite you to meet my pit bull. She is gorgeous, she is wonderful, she is kind, and I would ask all the council members, why BSL?
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
But I would urge the council to listen to what they've heard tonight, to absorb the information that we've been provided with, to reject the motion to table, and to vote on the substance of the proposal tonight.
But I don't think tabling it having heard all of the speakers and really listened to my colleagues is the best way to approach this. So I'm going to vote no on the motion and hope that we can deal with the fundamental issue of breed-specific legislation tonight.
The way I see it, then there's no need to continue the item because the purpose for there's no longer a purpose for continuation. We might as well just act on it.
Yeah, so the motion's actually not to continue, it's to just table. And no, let me finish. And what that can mean is it could come back or it couldn't come back. So just to clarify that.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.
But I hear that there's not support for that around the dais. I can bring it back, and I will. So
But Steve, I'll just offer it so that we get a vote on it.
And I'll bring it back again in July. And it may well be that I will offer this same exact solution.
Well, that's up to you.
You're right. Not the banning of pit bulls. We could debate that, some other time and place. We may not be able to convince one another about the facts that I've laid out.
Yeah, listen. You listen with your ears.